Hi everyone, today we are looking at P6 2024 Raffles preliminary papers. Okay, now that's the first paper that I'm going to go through. As I'm recording this, my students are right in front of me and they're all laughing at me. All right, so anyways, let's look at the questions. I'm not going to go through every single question. I'm only going through the difficult ones, okay, from RAFFLES. Okay, I'm just selecting certain questions for us to look at. Okay, so the first question I want to look at is a speed question. I'm going to jump all the way to question number 3. Are you all on question number 3? Okay, if you have this paper, please take it out. Please do it together with, or in fact, do it alongside me. I think that will be very, very, very helpful. Okay, so that is the first question that I am looking at. So without any further ado, let's get started. As you can see over here, it says that a car and a taxi, all right, Grab, Uber, whatever, doesn't matter. Tada, right, whatever, go Jack, sponsor me, please. I'm just kidding. Now, but a car and a taxi traveled from where to where? From point A to point B. So what we want to do is to always draw a timeline. Okay, before I even, move on, right, I want to ask myself or remind myself that there are two concepts that I'm looking at, either meet up or catch up. Okay, by now you should know already, right? There are two concepts. Within these two concepts, there are two methods that you can use. Now, as you can see over here, okay, they are both going towards the same direction, right? They are both going towards the same direction. In fact, over here, this is point B, this is point A, right? The taxi is going towards this direction. The car is going towards this direction. When the car started the journey at 8 a.m., so what time did the car start? The car vroom, vroom, vroom at 8 a.m. What is the taxi uncle doing? The taxi uncle is already 7.5 kilometers ahead, right? The taxi uncle is already here. And this was his 8 a.m. You understand what I'm saying or not? All right, so that means to say the car lazier, the taxi uncle very, very hardworking. Okay, so over here you can see that the distance over here is 7.5 kilometers. Okay, so that is the first thing that you want to do. Now, so from here itself, we can kind of see that this is like a catch-up question, right? This is a catch-up question. In the catch-up question, okay, there are two different methods, right, that we use, right? The first one is basically what we call using the difference, or if not, then we will use our ratio to help us to find. Okay, now you can see over here, the car traveled at 90 kilometers per hour. I will write at the side 90 kilometers per hour. For the taxi, it is 75 kilometers per hour. Of course, right? A taxi is usually slower. Okay? So because I know that, I can find my speed over here. Make sense? Which is 75 kilometers per hour, right? It's already given to me. And I know my time. You agree or disagree? Right? 7.5 divided by 75, what do you get? You get to an answer of 1 over 10. Oh, what is 1 over 10? 1 over 10 hour is what? 1 over 10 hour, you just have to change that to minutes by multiplying by 60, and you see that it is basically what we say by 6 minutes. Am I making sense? That means to say the taxi uncle started at what time? If you all are able to tell me, that means you really understood this, right? The taxi uncle started at what time? 7:54 a.m. How many of you agree with me on that? Okay, so both of them went in the same direction. They never changed their speed. The question says, at what time did the car and taxi pass each other? We don't know exactly where. I'm just going to estimate it to be here. Am I making sense? I'm just going to say, okay, the taxi and the car is going to pass each other over here. So from here itself, right, I want to find what time did they pass each other. Am I making sense? I want to find what time did they pass each other. So the taxi will continue to go, the car will also continue to go. But you see, the problem here is this, is that the car is faster than the taxi, right? The car is faster than the taxi. The taxi is slower than the car, correct? So the car will usually, or in fact, the car will eventually do what? A catch up. You understand what I'm saying? The car will be like, hey, hello, I'm faster than you. That's where they will meet. Am I making sense? So from here itself, I can use something called difference. Okay, I'm going to use difference. I'm going to say that the difference in their speed is actually 90 kilometers per hour minus 75. That gives me 15 kilometers per hour. Am I making sense? Am I making sense or not making sense? Another thing that is different is their difference in their distance. I say that again, difference in their distance. How many of you agree with me that the difference in their distance is 7.5 kilometers? Do you agree or disagree? You see, why is teacher Joseph doing this? Because when I remove away the difference, then that means to say that is the time that they will meet. Am I making sense? When I meet you, that means there is no difference in my time. Let that sink in. One more time. When I meet you, that means there is no difference in my time. Am I making sense? So that's the reason why I am using difference. Okay. So then in that case, I'm going to say that, oh, therefore, I'm removing all of the differences. What is the differences between the taxi and the car? Number one is the speed. Number two is the speed. One more time. Number one is the speed. Number two is the distance. You get what I'm trying to say? When I remove those two things, that means that's when they meet, right? True or not? True or not, right? Why is that so? Huh? What are you saying? Now, you just have to do the difference in distance divided by the difference in speed. When you do that, you get to 15 over, what is my difference in distance? Sorry, I apologize, 7.5 divided by 15. Am I making sense or not making sense? Oh, what is this half an hour? It means they have to go for half an hour before they met each other. Am I making sense or not making sense? Am I making sense or not making sense? Okay, so let me ask you a question. Half an hour, maybe I just want to just give an annotation, right? Half an hour later, they will say hello, right? It means that they will, in other words, they will meet. Am I making sense or not making sense? They will meet up because you see, if for those of you who understood difference divided by difference, what happens? No more difference, right? Then my time cannot be difference in time, right? Has to be time. Am I making sense? So what time do you think they'll pass each other? 8 a.m., right? Half an hour later, that will be, okay, I show you 8:30 a.m. for the taxi, 8:30 a.m. for the 8:30 a.m. for the car. Don't you agree on this? Do you agree or disagree? Don't you agree? Right, from here itself, you can see that the car only took 30 minutes, but the taxi took how long? 30 plus 6. The taxi took 36 minutes. Why is it that the taxi took 36 minutes? Because the taxi is slower. Am I making sense? Do you understand what I'm saying or not? And because of the car's faster speed, the car could catch up with the taxi. Am I making sense? All right, so that's all I have for you for question number 3. No. I understand that a lot of you love to use ratio. I'm going to use ratio also, okay? So I have used difference, right? Now I'm going to use ratio. Let's talk about the ratio, okay? First thing first, in terms of the speed, okay, the car is to the taxi. The car is to the taxi is 90 is to 75. Is this something that you can understand? All right, so what we like to do is we like to reduce to our simplest form, which is 6 is to 5. Am I making sense? When the car's speed is 6, we can say that the car's time becomes 5 and the taxi's time becomes 6, right? We call this an inverse relationship. Am I making sense? I swap it around. Agree or not? Because if the car is faster, that means the speed is slower. I say that again. When the car speed is faster, the time is lesser time taken. What is their difference in time? We can find, right? The difference in time. What is the difference in time? We can see over here is 1 unit, correct or not? So we confidently say that 1 unit is basically equals to how many minutes? 6 minutes. Am I making sense? If you're wondering why, because the taxi had to take or had to go earlier, what? Correct or not? So now I'm gonna zoom in again. Now what I want to do is I want to find their respective time. I can find for car is 5 units, correct or not? Which is equals to 30 minutes. Oh, this means that the car took how long? 30 minutes. If I want to find the taxi, okay, let me just bracket this first. If I want to find the taxi, I'll just simply have to say 6 units. That means the taxi took how long? 36 minutes. Am I making sense or not making sense? Well, then, what? But the question is asking for what? What time, correct or not? Up to you. You want to use whichever, you will still get to the same answer of 8:30, correct? If I use taxi, that means taxi will take 36 minutes from 7:54. If I use car, that means the car will take 30 minutes from 8 a.m. So that is the reason why your answer for this question will still be 8:30. Now, this question, right, looks very complicated. Okay, but don't worry, this is actually very simple. Let's see this together. It says that figure 1 shows a rectangular wooden plank of length 0.3. Quickly go and put and show that this is 0.3 meters. And if this is 0.3, then this part is also 0.3 meters. Huh? How do you know that? Because when I look opposite, you can see, right, it's also the length. Very good. So what I can say is that 1 length equals to 3 breadth, basically. Which is my breadth, this is my breadth, this is my length. Am I making sense? So that means to say this is 0.1 meters. Am I making sense? Well, the question just wants you to find the area of the floor. So how many can I lay? They have already told us that it's 108. So I know that 1 wooden plank like that, right, is actually equals to 0.3 times 0.1. Am I making sense or not making sense? All right, so when I get to this, I will get to 0.03 meters square. All right, and then what I want to do is I want to find the area of the floor. Because we use 108 wooden plank, I just have to do 0.03 times 108. Am I making sense or not making sense? And that's the reason why your answer for this question is 3.24 meters square. And this question looks very difficult, but do not be tricked. Now, you can see over here, Mrs. Raja spent 1/3 of her money. So we are going to draw 3 units first. We're going to shade the first unit. We're going to say that the first unit is basically a bag. A bag, quickly write down 1B. 1B plus 2BE. Why BE? Because belt and bag, I don't want to confuse myself. You get what I'm trying to say now? Okay, now, more importantly is, you first identify the concept first. Is this type A, B, or C? I would say this is what we call type B. Agree or disagree? All right. In fact, some of you will probably learn from me. I call this type D. When is it a type D? When you see something like that, the bag costs twice as much as each belt. I apologize. So what I want to do really, okay, is to now listen up very carefully. All right. Say that the bag is definitely more expensive. So when I buy one bag, I can buy 2 belts. So what I want to do is I want to change everything to either belt or bag. I want to change everything to either belt or bag. So what I will write over here is this, okay? Since I know one bag is 2 belt, right? I will say 2 belt over here plus 2 belt over here. If you're wondering why, because I want to change this bag, I change this bag to this one. Am I making sense? You see, the thing is this, right? When you have bag and belt, very confusing, right? So make all into belt first. Later words, then you go and convert back to bag. Wow. Convert back to bag. Am I making sense? Okay, if you want all to be back, also can. I leave it to you, okay? Mrs. Raja then decided to spend how much? She decided to spend, as you can see over here. Let's break this up. Or in fact, we don't even need to drop it down, right? We don't even need to drop it down. We can just leave it as such. We can just break this into 4 parts. Am I making sense? Of 4 units. And she spent how many units on shirt? We are going to shade over here, and we are going to say confidently that this is basically my shirt. Am I making sense or not making sense? Understand or don't understand? Okay. Now, then we move on, right? Sentence number 3 says that she spent how much more on the shirt than on the bag. When I compare a shirt to a bag, I know that the shirt is more expensive. Okay, the shirt is more expensive. For some reason, shirt is more expensive. Usually bag is more expensive. Okay, usually bag is more expensive. At least in the things that I buy, okay? So, well, what can you see from here? You can see that.
Okay, one shirt equals to 3 bags, which is equals to 6 belts.
Absolutely. Okay, very good. One shirt is equals to how many bags?
3.
How do you know one shirt is equals to 3 bags?
Actually, I made everything parts.
Yeah, very good. So we are going to split this up first. You understand what I'm saying now? So you see, teacher Joseph will split this up. I will say that, okay, 2 units.
Yeah, so then if 2 parts is 4 belts, then 1 part is 2 belts. And then, as you can see, shirt is 3 parts. So 2 belts and 3 is 6 belts, which is also 3 bags.
Okay. I will do it my way first. You can work on yours. That's perfectly fine. We can see over here, this is 2 units, correct now? So if 2 units is actually equals to 4 belts, right? 1 unit will basically be equals to 2 belts. And then after that, we will have 3 units, which is equals to how many belts? 6 belts. Am I making sense? And 6 belts is also known as, let me just write down first, 6 belts. Very good. 6 belts is also known as 3 shirts. Okay, 6 belts is over here. All right, so what I can say confidently over here is that this is 6 belts. Okay, 6 belts. Let me just, if I were to put 6 belts over here, I can see that from here to here, I will just multiply by 3, right? So that gives me how many bags? 3 bags. Okay, I can also say that this is 3 bags. Okay, now, so from here itself, very obviously, okay, did I buy, 6 belts? Maybe I will just write 6 belts or 3 bags, okay? Now, what I want to do next is I want to ask myself, right? How much did I spend on the bag? How many bags did I buy? I only bought 1 bag. True? I only bought 1 bag, right? That means to say, for a shirt, it's basically 1 bag plus $58. Am I making sense or not making sense? Am I making sense or not making sense? Okay.
Yeah, making sense.
And 1 bag can also be known as 2 belt. Agree so far? 1 bag can also be known as 2 belt. Am I making sense? Oh, that means to say, what does that mean to you? That means this is actually 2 belt plus how much? 2 belt plus $58. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But isn't it? So
Right. So what you want to do now? What you want to do now is to find the value of that $58. Am I making sense or not making sense? All right. So how many units is equals to $58? Can you see over here? 3 units. Huh? Sorry. Why do you want to say? Why do you say 3 belts? It should be, you see, over here, right? You see, this one is how many belts?
Also 6 belts.
How many belt? 2 belt plus $58 equals to 3 units, right?
Yeah.
2 belt plus $58 is actually equals to how many belts? 6 belts. Am I making sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah,
so 2BE plus $58 is equals to 6 belts. So
belts,
yeah, very good, very good. This really very good. So we know that 4 belts is actually equals to $58. Then after that, what you want to do now is you want to find 1 belt. 1 belt will now then be 58 divided by 4. All right, we get to an answer of 1450.
Is the answer for our question $174?
Correct, that's correct. Okay, but give me a while, Jay. Give me a while, please, Ken. Okay, now listen
Yeah, I
up.
was just asking.
Yeah. How much money did Raja have at first? Now, you obviously just have to find the number of units. Please take note. If they say how much money did Raja spend, you have to see carefully how many units are you going to find. You can see from here how many units are you supposed to find in total. All right, you can find at first, we will then find how many units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But that is not correct because over here I'm using belt, right? To help me to find. Correct or not? How many belts? Very good. Why 12 belts? Very good. Because each unit is 2 belts. Am I making sense?
And
Right?
there's 6
12 belts.
units.
Very good. Okay, so a lot of you will probably have a different way. As long as we reach to the same destination, I think that's perfectly fine. And that is the reason why your answer for this question has to be $174. Now, as you can see over here, Amina and Serene had the same number of coins. Okay, so this is what we call a Helen Ivan question. A lot of people, they remember the Helen and Ivan question that appeared in PSLE. Okay, so what we want to do first, very simple. Okay, we are gonna say that Amina, because Amina and Serene had the same. So what I like to do is I like to quickly draw our model first. All right, I want to quickly draw our model first. I will say that Amina and Serene had the same number of coins. You can see over here, this model that I'm drawing is what we call our how many. I say that again, this model that I'm drawing is what I call my how many. Okay, so I'll probably put a how many over here first. Okay, all right, I'll put a how many over here first. Can? Now, they each had a mix of 20 cents and 50 cents. Okay, so in Amina, you will see 20 cents. In Serene, you will see 20 cents. Now, they each had a mix. In fact, sorry, Amina had 12. So we are going to show Amina first. We know that Amina has 12 over here, and these 12 are all 20 cents. So I will just say 12, 20 cents. I will say 12, 20 cents. And not only that, we will also say that the rest will then be how many 50 cents? We don't know how many 50 cents. So we'll just put a question mark. Now, of course, we will want to do the same thing for Serene because we know that Serene had how much? 20, right? 20 cent coins. So 20 cent coins. Okay, what you want to do is you want to write down 20 cent coins. Now, I also want to mirror image down, right? So this has to be 12 and then this has to be 8. Very important. I will mirror image up again. Now, I will say that this is 8. 8 what? 8 50 cents. Am I making sense? So I will just show that this is 8 50 cents. Agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Okay, right? And then, of course, the rest for Amina will be 50 cents. Do I know how many? I don't know, so I just put a question mark. Well, then for this also, I don't know how many. I'll just put a question mark in front. But I know one thing for sure, okay? Let me just show it to you, okay? This one over here, this green one, which is 12, 20 cents, right? And this is exactly the same in terms of the value, in terms of the number. I say that again, in terms of the how many coins do you have? Both tells me that we have 12, right? How much? Both tells me that it's 12 times 20 cents. Agree or disagree? Then in the second part, right? Or maybe let me just go to the last one first, okay? To the last one, same thing. How many 50 cents does Amina have? We don't know exactly, but we know that this and this has to be the
Same.
Same. I say that again, this and this has to be the same, right? The value is also the same. The quantity is also the same, right? The how many is the same, the how much is the same. The only thing that is different is really this part over here. Can you see 8 50 cents coin for Amina?
Yeah.
And then can you see this 8 is what? 8 20 cents. For who? Serene. Agree or disagree? So with that in mind, right, we can in fact answer the question already. Who had more money? Because you see, the green and the greener, there is no comparison at all. Why? Because it's all the same. The only thing that is different is the yellow color part, the ones in the middle. Agree or disagree? So I ask you a question now. If Amina had 8 50 cents and Serene had 8 20 cents, you tell me who had more. Definitely we know it's Amina. Agree or disagree? All right, so you just spell Amina. And of course, the question says how much more, right? Very simple. Okay, if you all want, you all can just do 8 times 50-cent coins. Okay, if I have 8 50 cents, imagine today you have 8 50 cents in your wallet. You will count, and tell your papa, hey, I got $4. Then Serene, Serene, count, and tell her papa, she has 160. You get what I'm trying to say now? So from here itself, right, we obviously know that the difference, right, because the question say how much more, right, is basically how much? $4 minus 160. And therefore, for this first part, my answer is $2.40. Am I making sense? Okay, yep. Okay, you can use another way is to you obviously just do 8 times 30 cents. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Okay, but for those of you who don't really quite understand, then you can go one by one. Just list it out first. Okay. Now, what happens next? We can see that Serene spent all her 20 cents. So we are going to go to Serene. We're going to chip chop curry pok. We're going to cancel all of this one. Am I making sense? So how much did Serene really spend? How much did Serene really spend? Over here, we can see that Serene spent all. So Serene spent. So I'm going to write spend over here. Serene spent how much? 20 times 20 cents. 20 times 20 cents. Okay? All right. So in that case, Serene actually spent how much? $4. Am I making sense or not making sense? Okay. Now, another thing you realize is that we can actually find out the value of these. Okay, we can actually find out the value of this. Maybe I just find out the value of this first. How much is this? 12 times 20 cents is how much? 12 times 20 cents is 240, right? Agree or disagree? Right? This 8 50 cents is how much? 8 times 50 cents, right? Which is equals to $4. Agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Okay. So how much must Amina give to Serene? Because Amina never spent. Amina is a saver. So that they have the same amount of money. How much, I say that again, how much must Amina give to Serene so that they have the same amount of money? Let me ask you a question. How much does Amina have right now? We know, right? It is basically $6.40 plus how many 50 cents? We don't know, right? So I will just say 640 plus, we don't know. I will just say 1 unit of 50 cents. For Serene, it's the same thing. For Serene, it's the same thing. It's, I don't know how much, but I know it's 1 unit of 50 cents. Well, how do I make sure that they have the same? What is the problem here? Is that Amina has how much more than Serene? Can you imagine if I were to draw a model for you today? I would just have to draw it in this manner, right? Amina and Serene. Amina has 1 unit. Serene has 1 unit, correct or not? Right? Both of these are, we don't know exactly how many 50 cents, but I know it's 1 unit of 50 cents. Agree or disagree? All right, I apologize for my pen. There's some issue. That's why the numbers are not as accurate, okay? So pardon me for that. Now over here is 1 unit of 50 cents or so. So you see, what can you all see over here? You can see that there is a difference of how much? $6.40, right? So what should I do? What should Amina give so that they will both have the same amount? Amina should give half of hers. She should transfer half of hers to Serene. Half of what? Half of 640. Am I making sense? All right, so that's the reason why Serene will receive 320 from Amina. All right, and Amina will give away that 320. And that is the reason why your answer for the second part, again, how much Amina must give? Amina must give a total of $3.40. $3.20. Okay, so let me just write down over here, $3.20 is the amount that Amina must give to Sri. Now, in the next question, which is question 14, right? We are obviously looking at a patterns question, correct? So while for a patterns question, I always tell my students, you have to first find what is the intervals, and then you also have to list it down, okay? Now, from here itself, we will just fill in the table first. The last number in the row, definitely, this is basically what I call my square numbers. And then for this itself, you just plus 2, plus 3, plus 5, right? Can you all see that? Okay, so plus 2, plus 3,
Yeah.
plus 5. I guess the next one will be plus 7, as you can see. Oh, sorry, this is not plus 2. This is plus 1, 3, 5, 7, right? So these are all odd numbers. So over here, this becomes 17, okay? All right, so I will just probably write down adding odd numbers. Okay, I'm just adding odd numbers, add odd. Okay, I'll just put add odd first. For this itself, I'll just put 1 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 2, 3 to the power of 2, 4 to the power of 2. So therefore, this is 5 to the power of 2, which is 25. A, done. 1 mark in. Now, they say, I want you to find the first number in row 10. Well, very simple, because all you need to do, right, okay, is to list it out. So row number 1, okay, you can see that the first number in the row, first number in the row, what I'm doing is I'm trying to list it out so that I'm able to see clearly. First one is 1, right? Row 2 will be 1 plus 1, which is equals to 2. Row 3 will be 1 plus 1 plus what? 3, which is equals to 5, correct? Now, row 4 will be 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 5, which is equals to 10. Now, I don't know if you can see this. All right, so row 5 will be 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7, which is equals to 17. Now, a lot of you will be like, teacher Joseph, so you want me to list down everything? Yes, I want you to list down everything, and that's the reason why I want you to list down everything. Okay, because I want you to see it for yourself. All right, I don't know if y'all can see. Whatever it is, row 100, okay, it will still start with 1. Don't you agree that it started with 1? True? All right, then what is after that, right, will all be odd numbers. Am I making sense? And you remember you have your calculator with you, right? Now, so row 10 will definitely start with 1, and whatever else that follows after will just be all odd numbers, all right? And how many odd numbers must you have? Over here, you can see row 5, there are 4 digits. So over here must be 9 digits of odd numbers. Am I making sense? Which I think you can press within 30 seconds. You don't believe me? You try it yourself. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus what? Plus 9 plus 11 plus 13. How many already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 15 plus 17. That gives me 81. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? All right. So then over here, all right, these 9 digits, this is 81. Makes sense or don't make sense? Okay. So then the question says, right, hey, find the what? Find the first number in row 10. So 81 plus 1, therefore my answer has to be 82. All right, within 15, 20 seconds, you'll be able to get that, okay? Then, of course, we want to move on to the next one, which is a C, right? C says, I want you to find the average of the numbers in row 10. Okay, so first thing first, you must find your first number, right? Which is something that we all have already, right? Which is 82. Why is that so? Okay, because as you can see over here, you want to find the average, so you need the total first, right? You need the total first. So the first thing first is for row number 10. Let's list it down. Row number 10, we know, or maybe I will just start with row over here. I will say row 10. Okay, row 10 has, for the first number, it's basically 82. For the last number, let's ask ourselves, for the last number is basically 10 to the power of 2. That gives me 100. 100. Okay? Now, the question says, I want you to find the average. Now, what are they trying to tell you? What are they trying to tell you? If the first number is 82, the last number is 100, let's go back to something simpler. Let's use row 2. How do I find the average of row 2? I will just do 2 plus 3 plus 4, right? 2 plus 3 plus 4, that gives me 9. And then I'll just do 9 divided by 3, which is equal to 3. Am I making sense or not making sense? So actually, all you need to do is to list down all of the numbers from 82 all the way to 100, add everything up together. So 82 plus 83, okay? So I'm just going to write 82 plus 83 plus 84 plus 85, until 100, divided by how many numbers? how many numbers? There must be 19 numbers. I say that again, 19 numbers. And when you do that, you basically do 1,729. Okay, so you do 82 plus 83 plus 84 plus 85 plus 86 plus 87 plus 88 plus 89 plus 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Within 20 seconds, you should be able to press all of these numbers out. Okay, so don't panic when you see that questions are like that. Okay, divided by 19. Why divided by 19? Because there are 19 numbers in total. So that is the reason why your answer for this question has to be 91. Now, Megan had some lilies and carnations. So what we want to do, in fact, there's nothing that I can do for this first part, right? So then sentence number 2, after she sold 75%. So what I want to do is I want to change my 75%. I want to change my 75% to 3/4. Okay, and 1/5 of the carnation. So what I want to do is I want to draw a table first, because I know obviously this is a BNA, and not just a BNA, but this is also what we call an equating numerators. How do I know that? Because of the word equal number. Okay, so I'm going to split it up. I'm going to put lilies over here, carnations over here. I will have my before over here. She sold 3/4. She sold 3/4. That means to say she had 4/4. My change, my after. How is it going to look like? It's going to look like this. Am I making sense? Okay, so 1/4 over here. This is 3 units. This is 4 units. This is 1 unit. All right. And 1/5 of the carnation. So this we minus 1/5. This is 5/5. This is 4/5. But for carnations, I have to use parts because they are different. I say that again because they are different. Lilies and carnations, they are separated. Am I making sense? Okay, so what I want to do over here, I just want to be more specific. So what I will do is I'll minus 3/4 and I will say that this is 3 units. Now, after that, what happened was, oh, they say they had an equal number, abort mission. What do I mean by abort mission? When I see the word equal number, I immediately know that it's equating numerators. So I will use equating numerators to help me to solve, which means to say I'm going to make the numerator the same. Very good. So 4/16. So you just times 4 to everything. So 12/16. Then this is 16/16. For this, still as per usual. So from here itself, we can see that, okay, this is 16 units. In fact, I don't even have to say parts anymore. Why is that so? Because I have already made the
same.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so again, you can see over here, this 1/5, right? So we will say that this is basically what I say my 5 units. Am I making sense? Right, so I think this is pretty simple. So all of us will get to 16:5. Now, then we go on to B, right? B says, hey, you know what? The number of lilies that Megan had at first was more than. So for L itself is 16 units, right? So they say that 16 units is more than 90. More than 90, okay? So it can it be 90? No, it has to be 91, 92, all the way. It can go all the way up. But fortunately, there is a time limit. You should be happy about that. Because if there's no time limit in your exam, they will not, they can just say, oh yeah, what was the possible number? Oh my goodness, then okay, for that maybe you can use the smallest, right? But over here, thankfully, there's a time limit, so therefore they ask for the smallest only. The smallest, yeah, if they ask for biggest, you're gonna sit there and find out. It's gonna take forever, okay? Now, but of course they won't, okay? That's a good thing, Now, so from here itself, we just have to find a number. In fact, a number that is probably in the 90s range that is divisible by 16. So that basically is how much? 96. Why is that so? If you're wondering, hey, how do you jump to 96? No, I am not jumping. I will try first. 91. Let's say 16 units is 91 flowers, okay, or 91 lilies in this situation. So I'll just put L first. Do you think I can have 1 unit as 91 divided by 16? 91/16, which is 5.6. Can I have that 5.6875 lilies? No, I cannot. You get what I'm trying to say? So 92 can or not? 92 divided by 16 cannot. All right, so maybe I write at the side 91 cannot, 92 cannot, 93 divided by 16 cannot, 93 cannot, 94 divided by 16 cannot, 94 cannot, 95 divided by 16 cannot, cannot, 96 divided by 16 can. So therefore, I will assume that the smallest possible number of flowers, smallest possible has to be 96 for lilies, and then 1 unit will then be 96 divided by 16. We get to 6. Of course, the question wants us to find the flowers, which means to say including the carnations. All right, so you can see the total number of units is how much? As you can see over here, 21 unit. All right, how do I get 21? Because 16 plus 5, we get to 21 units. 6 times 21, when I do 6 times 21, I get to an answer of 126 flowers. And therefore, this is my answer for this question. Now, figure 1 shows the amount of water in rectangular tank P at first. Now, the first thing you want to do is, of course, find out what is the volume. Am I making sense? What is the volume? So the volume over here, all right, we know that the volume over here will be 20 times 18 times 24. Okay, I would also love, to find out what is the capacity, huh? All right, so I will just basically do 8640 centimeter cube. All right, I also love to find out what is the base area. The base area will be 20 times 18. And from here itself, you can see that it's 360 centimeters square. Okay. Well, capacity you want to find also can, but I think it doesn't make sense. Okay. Now what happens is this, is that Raj poured 1/3 of the water from tank P into tank Q. And when he did that, what happens is that tank Q became this much, which is 25 times 16 times 16.2. Okay, 25 times 16 times 16.2, we get to an answer of 6,480 centimeter cube. Okay, well, so we are going to find that 1/3 of water. How much is that 1/3 of water? In fact, over here, I will just write how much is poured into Q, right? So how much is poured into Q? We can say 1/3 times what? Times the P, right? 1/3 times P, which is 24 times 20 times 18. Okay, so when I do that, 1/3 times 24 times 20 times 18, we get to an answer of 2,880. So this amount of water was poured into where? Poured into Q. Okay. Now the question says, okay, let me see. What was the height of the water level in tank Q at first? Oh, okay. So we have to work backwards now, right? So we're gonna remove water poured. Okay, would then be the current volume. We minus away the 2880. So you go 6480 minus 2880. We get to an answer of 3,600. Of course, what we want to do is we want to find our height. All right, we want to find our height. And whenever we find height, we will always do volume divided by base area. Okay, what is my volume? It's 3,600 divided by the base area, which is 25 times 16. Okay, we want to find the height at first. When I do that, I will now then get to an answer of 9 cm. Okay, and that is my answer for part A of this question. Okay, so of course, then we want to see, right? The question says in B, the percentage increase in the volume of water in tank Q. Look at tank Q. Oh, very easy, right? If you want a percentage increase, it's always the change over the original times 100. Okay, maybe I will just change of this. I will just write change over the original times 100. What was the change? The change was what was poured into it, which is 2,880. What was the original? The original was what was the volume at first, right? What was the volume at first, which is 3,600. Okay, then after that, question wants you to find the percentage. What I want to do really is just simply times 100%, and we will get to an answer of 80%. And this was the increase in the volume of water in tank Q.
I also started with.
Now, the area of the shaded figure, right? So as you can see over here, right, this is getting us to find whatever that you can see over here, which is shaded, of course. All right. So we first can, break this up. If you want to, you can break this up, right? Or if not, you don't even have to break this up. You know why? Because you can just shift this inwards. All right. You can just shift this inwards. When you shift this inwards, okay, you can just simply find the area of a quadrant. Am I making sense? All right. If I were to write down the BRASS, you can see BRASS, this concept over here is testing you whether if you know how to shift, you must be able to think like how the teacher thinks. What do you think the teacher is testing you? Teacher is testing whether if you are able to shifting. Am I making sense? Right? So we want to now shift. All we need to do is to find 1/4 times 22/7 times 28 times 28 times 28. You're wondering, what is this? This is basically
616.
This is basically the formula, right? So over here, all right, you just have to get to, so in fact, I will just write 1/4 times pi r squared. Okay, so then in that situation, I will get to 616 centimeters squared. Thank you, Jay. Now, once I'm done with this, of course, I want to move on to the next part, right? Because I'm done. I think more importantly is that when I look at perimeter, I tell my students couple of times, millions of times, I always tell them perimeter, please don't shift. Just highlight the outside. I know we have shifted, but because that is for area, so I just want to highlight the outside. Okay, so guys, just take note, right? You can see that the outside is made up of how many arc length? 1, 2, 3 arc length. Agree or disagree? But you have to be very careful because the radiuses are different. Agree so far? There's only one thing that I can combine, which is this arc length and this arc length. Agree or disagree? Because that becomes a circumference of a circle. So I will start with that first, okay? So I will just say 2. Okay, let me just erase this part first. All right, yeah, I'll start from here. I'll just say 2 arc is equals to 1 circle. I will just simply have to do pi d. What's my pi? My pi in this situation is 22/7. What's my d? My d is just 28. Simple. All right, so we will have 22/7 times 28. We will get to an answer of 88 over here first. Okay, once I get to this, I'm going to now find the arc length of the quadrant, the big quadrant. The big quadrant, you can follow my cursor. Okay, the arc length of the big quadrant. How do I find that? I will just have to do 1/4. Okay, maybe I will just also write down arc. Okay, I also want to reduce this because I feel the pen is a bit too thick. Let me just erase all of this first. Okay, now, so we will just say arc of quadrant, right, will then be 1/4 times pi d. Okay, or you can say 1/4 times 2 pi r. That works perfectly fine as well. All right, so 1/4 pi d. Okay, so 1/4 times 22/7 times the diameter. What is the diameter? Again, this entire thing is 28, right? But the diameter is not 28, right? Because this is a quadrant, right? In fact, this is the bigger quadrant that we are looking at. Agree or disagree? Right, so what do y'all think that will be? That will basically be what we say, 56. Okay, so 56, and then we get to an answer of 44. All right, to find the total perimeter, don't forget to add it all up together. We just have to do 88 plus 44. All right, when I do 88 plus 44, I will get to an answer of 132 centimeter. No square, because this is a perimeter. Now in C itself, right, it says that 19 of such shaded figures were used to form a repeated pattern and printed at the bottom of a piece of a cloth. Now, how many? Again, as you can see over here, they say 19 shaded. Okay, so they say that the arrangement of the first eight, this is the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth, and the last three. So over here is 1, over here is 2, over here is 3. They are shown in figure number 2. Now, from here itself, right, what I want to do is obviously give, or in fact, to write out all of the measurements first. You see, if I know that this is 28, I also know that this is how much? This is 14. So I will say that this is 14. This part over here is also 14, right? Then we continue on. This part over here is also 14. Okay, so what I want to do first, okay, is to find what is one set. What is my one set? My one set, I will have 2 shaded. One set, I will have 2 shaded, and the measurements for one set is basically 14 plus 28 plus 14. Okay, if you are not too sure exactly which one set am I referring to, I am currently fixing my eyes on this one over here, the ones inside the boxes. Am I making sense? And from here itself, we know that the answer has to be 56. Okay, the answer has to be 56. So this is my one set. Now, my question to you rather is, how many shaded do you think I will have? They say 19, right? So I will get to a multiple of 2 first. I'll get to a multiple of 2 first. I will just times 9 over here. All right, so I will have 9 sets in total. And 9 sets will get me a measurement of 56 times 9, which is equals to 504. But you must remember that there is a final part. Okay, so my 9 sets ends somewhere here. Right, my 9 set ends here. So this is my 9 sets. right? But don't forget there's also one more shaded that you needed to add, because total how many shaded are there? 19, right? So over here I have 19 shaded, right? Just nice, right? So my 19th last shaded, or in fact, yeah, I call that the last shaded one, right? Will basically have a measurement of, we can see over here, this part over here is 14, this part over here is 28. So you want to find the length of the piece of the cloth. I will just write the length of the cloth. You will just have to use your first 504, which is from here all the way to this point, which is 504, and you don't forget to add in the last part. And the last part is made up of 14 and 28. So that's the reason why we will do 504 plus 14 plus 28, and I will get to an answer of 546 centimeter. And this is how you would solve a question like this. Okay, so that's all I have for you for this paper. These are probably the toughest questions, in this paper, and I hope you have understood this, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hi everyone, if you like this video, you can click right here for a similar video, or you can view our playlist here.